Okay. All right. So that's one bucket
Yeah,
where the search term exists in both advertising and search query.
organic. Yep.
And now we are left with those keywords in your ocean of keywords from search query performance that don't have any advertising data,
Yep.
or that don't have any advertised any advertising that have yielded purchases.
Yep.
Now, what do you do with those?
So there's two different things we can do. Once you have those data, you can use those, again, ChatGPT or any AI to give you formulas to harvest in a separate sheet the keywords that do not match with the search, and then you are left with your organic. Right now, the question comes, what do you do with those? Pull all the KPIs, search volume, impression share, click share, past purchases. The most simple one, past purchases here. If you have at least one sale, depending on the search volume, it's a very high search volume, then check your organic rank on it again, the same process, and then you can strategize. Now, if it's a very high volume, that means you have a lot of competition in that, which you previously did not discover. Or it could be a keyword that recently got a spike and nobody knows about it. Right. So a lot of different situations could happen. But then you, based on your budget, you want to test it. Test those keywords that you really like. Ignore your branded. If it's a keyword that does not align with your brand, doesn't align with your product, you can ignore that. But then if you find those keywords that you got to purchase on, like gift for women who have everything, it doesn't align with all brands, but if it aligns with your product, if it's giftable, then let's start advertising heavily on it, right? Or depending on your budget. So you can start with low bits, high bits, exact phrase, broad modifiers. That way you cover all the bases, and then in a week or two, then you'll get a data on those keywords that you found in search keyword performance. Now you have advertising history. You put some spend behind it. How do you convert? What's your conversion rate? What's your CPC? What's your ACoS? All those fun, metrics. So that's one way to find and utilize it. The next is impression share versus click share. A very simple formula that you can put after your click share. So you want to put if click share greater than impression share, then you want to, and you have the formula where you put a comma, true, comma, false. This will tell you easily if your click share is greater than impression share or not. So you don't have to spend hours on it. Just drag it down, and then you can filter it by true only. So you only want to look at the keywords where your click share is higher than impression share. Now you have a list of keywords. Filter it, analyze it. Now you remove your branded keywords. You remove irrelevant keywords. Now what this data tells you is that you got probably 10 impressions, but out of that 10 impression and the impression share, your click share is higher. You got probably like 0.01% of the impressions of all the impressions all of the brands got. But the click share that you got is higher than the impression. So maybe you got 0.15% of the click share. That means you're doing something right. The customer is aligning with your product. They're interested in your product based on that keyword search. So this could be your opportunity. It may work, it may not work. Again, take those keywords, test it on the exact phrase broad. What I have found out of all these keywords that I did, based on the same process, 40% of the keywords worked for me. 20% of the keywords did not get any impressions because they were, low search volume. And then there are the remaining percentages that spent, got clicks, did not get impression. Then I would pause it, focus on the ones that worked, right? Again, in a couple of quarters, you do the same thing. That's how you keep on increasing your impressions, increasing your sales.
Yeah, cool. So, okay, just to go over it. Yeah. So you take your list of search terms that don't have any advertised sales, and you are analyzing this time. The first tier is the ones with the highest number of purchases, right?
Yep.
So those ones, it's a no-brainer. You are getting business, so go target them with advertising.
Exactly.
So that's one phase. The second phase is compare the impression share with click share. If the click share is greater than impression share, those ones are obviously higher value. Then you take those and then go run campaigns and then test to see what's going on. One thing you mentioned, which frankly it makes sense, maybe you can bring this into the same filtering where based on the search volume. So you may say, I want to look at only those where the search volume is greater than X and the click share is greater than impression share. Give me a list of those, then you could go after those. Then, it's worth it because there is enough volume, right?
Absolutely. The one thing I would advise is if your search volume is low, check the history of that search volume because it might have just dropped or it might have a seasonality to it, right? That is the super important thing that we all, a lot of people miss. Seasonality affects a lot, right? There might be a time when it was very high, it dropped now, or it was very low and it started picking up because somebody's advertising that keyword or people are just advertising.
How do you check the history of a search term?
Very easy. You search that search term on Helium 10 and right beside the search volume, there's a small graph. If you click on that graph, you can go back 30 days, you can go back 90 days, 1 year, all time. If it's a very new keyword, you will not have a lot of data, but then you can see some kind of trend. If it's a keyword that has been searched for over a year or at least a year, you can see the yearly trend, and you can also find seasonality of that keyword.
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess that means you have to have Helium 10 to start with.
Or you can do it in Jungle Scout. I don't work on Jungle Scout, but I'm assuming that Jungle Scout would also provide similar trend line.
Yeah, I'm also a big Helium 10 guy, so I like Helium 10. So all the other stuff is not available in Helium 10, but yeah, this kind of stuff definitely.